know, I used to go on the barbers, yeah. I just sit down. And then he just do any pattern that he wants.
What he wants?
And you paid him. So I got say no more. Let me just fix you up.
Say no more.
My man was just freestyling no direction.
Yo. One weekend's like a couple of lines. Next weekend, it's just whatever.
Yeah, like they say no more and they say nothing.
Right, so welcome to another episode of Why Didn't You Tell Me? So in this episode, we're really lucky to be joined by some absolutely incredible men today from Black Dad's Lives. And so for today, we're going to be talking about black hair empowerment and that kind of Afro curliness that we've kind of grown up with. Now, today, this podcast is sponsored by Afrodrops. So they sell Afro hair care products and they look to empower that side of our culture and people and community. And so without further ado, I'm just going to quickly introduce everybody. So I go by the name of Thierry.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Tinashe.
It's me, Dash.
Anton.
Felix.
Young Idris. Jason Field.
No, on that note, yeah, you know, you pulled me off about my name the other week, yeah. And
Prince.
Prince, but what is it? I play as Prince Afrique, yeah. Someone came with me and was like, so, Felix, I just want to talk to you about your character, Prince Afrique. So are you telling people that you're a freak? It's Africa. It's Africa. If you look at the spelling of a freak, it's Afrique. They were like, no, you're just saying that you're a freak.
So I took it.
I didn't know it was that, to be fair. I didn't even realise it was.
So it's Felix, just plain Felix from now on. Not Prince Afrique, not Felix Afrique, just plain Felix.
Yeah, are you a freak or?
Hey, let's not talk about this episode.
Well, on that note, on the note of like black hair and everything else, right? So what's everyone's like go-to hairstyles? What did we have when we were younger? Like, what's everybody saying? Because for me, I've never had anything outside of a high top, really, or a fade.
Serious? For real?
Yeah, I've never really grown my hair. My hair's never really grown.
Because you didn't let it grow.
I've got the Rwandan forehead.
Is that what it calls still?
What? You talking about me?
Bro, listen to him, man.
No, I never had anything outside of a fade. No.
Can't lie, man. For me, it's got to be cane rolls.
K-Rolls.
K-Rolls, bro!
Yeah,
One of them sweet boys.
Listen, bro, oh my gosh, bro. Stand between the girls' legs, getting your hair braided.
Nah, you thinking you're Jaheim.
No. Real talk, yeah? Ludicrous.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You have to wear a sweatband.
You have to wear a sweat. But listen, me on the basketball court, bro, thinking I'm balling with a little sweatband. Fresh rolls. Are you mad? Bro, listen, yeah? This is going to sound so mad. But when I got sweaty, I used to... blow in the wind.
That's nasty.
Nah, still.
I could just never sit down for that long and get that kind of hair done. And do you know what it is as well? I think I didn't even know what it took because more time, like all I've done is ever wash my hair with shampoo. Not even shampoos. Sometimes it's just shower gel.
Shower gel, that's what I'm saying.
But do you know when you get to your trim though, like when you do a shower gel and it's like crusty?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I never realised that.
Very dry scalp.
Yeah.
Moisturiser.
But it's shower gel though, isn't it? Do you know?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And you're looking down in the barbershop on the map thinking, everyone can see
All
this.
them flakes.
Even though you wash your hair just before you
And he uses that olive oil. You know that olive oil at the end?
It's alcohol.
To give you that.
Yeah, just soaks it all in.
Yeah, but if you do the alcohol, then the olive oil, it's good. It's calm.
True.
Realistically though, Carlos, you've had some mad hairstyles, haven't you, bro? Why don't you tell us about yours?
What have you had?
I just like a fresh trim. Waves were the thing, so I
because
you've got texturized.
I've got a picture of you on my phone now, yeah, right, and you've got...
Get it out.
I can't get it out. I'll send it afterwards now, yeah. You've got one little airbender pattern in your head.
Oh, that's
You say airbender?
What trim was I got my weekend and I had all the zigzag things in it.
Oh,
that's when you were going on holiday. I thought, I might jump on your holidays. Doesn't sound a joke.
I never
texturised
my hair.
Yeah,
I did relax it once by mistake. Well, I say by mistake.
You can't do that by mistake.
Do you know what? Do you know what?
But I did it jump for
Do you know what it was rooted in? It was like I saw, I think it was James Bond, right? And they had, do you know like how...
No black guys.
No, that's exactly it. No, that's exactly it because that was the issue. Because I only ever saw like white male leads and all that kind of stuff. And I saw his hair, yeah. And do you know he has that like little cut pattern there and it comes over. It looks slick. Tell me that did not look.
Dude, James Bond.
Yeah, yeah. Little,
you know
you cut here, patterned over like this, and it was like a little young David Beckham.
I did it.
Yeah, so
how
did
you do that? So I
was trying to do that.
I like.
Yeah, but you tried, but he said he did it. Felix on about he did it. I don't know how you completed that.
I was what they call in the hair community for black women. A creamy crack baby, so I enjoyed a relaxer more than once.
Okay.
Like I at least
crap baby.
I at least had I had a relaxer at least like 3-4 times, yeah. And then there was this one occasion where like I slicked it all the way back, and I was like a student leader, so we had like varsity, so I slicked my hair back. It looked like a hot mess, but I felt so fine. So like that. What you're talking about, the Bond, I went more for the David Beckham because he was my
he had
idol.
the thing in it.
So the way he was just like always like putting his hair, slicking it back, doing everything like that. So I did that, but I
You have some Predators as well.
I had some.
Astral Jersey.
But I'm like, I love black hair because you can do so much with it. And like, I've relaxed my hair. I've done a mohawk. I've done bold. I've done faux locks recently.
I tried a fro hawk. What the hell that
You used to have a mohawk. I remember you used to have a mohawk. You used to be able to rock a mohawk.
I feel like
Used
you've been
to.
for a lot.
Still could, bro.
Yeah, no, I struggle.
You know what?
I struggle with different hairstyles now. I can't lie. I'll get out there before you get it out there.
It's the hairstyle.
Not
you struggle with
styles.
hair.
No. I don't struggle with hair because I still got some. But my hairstyle that I had when I was younger, when I could grow it. Mike, what are you gonna say?
Have you seen Not Your Professor?
No, it wasn't
Let me finish, go on.
No, because you're gonna say Reggie.
Yeah, Reggie.
The shit locks.
You know what I'm playing? Don't know playing, yeah, because that's not how my hair was.
So how
Remember? Because I used to have the plaits coming down like 3T. Remember 3T?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson nephew.
Andre.
Not 3T, man.
Roger.
It's a big on big on.
Roger from Sister.
Peter Andre. Got it. Got it.
Like, what's it like? What you want about? Like, it was my hair.
Yeah, like Roger.
Yeah, Roger Peter Andre didn't have his hair like that.
Think back to the video, bro.
Yeah.
Think back to the video.
So for ages, I used to have a pattern in my hair in it. But I didn't, I used to go on the barbers, yeah. I just sit down and then he just do any pattern that he wants and then
What he wants?
he was just like, he was like, I got say no more, let me just fix you up. And it's
No direction.
literally, one weekend it's like a couple of lines. Next weekend it's just whatever.
The say no more and the say nothing.
You know what? That one hairstyle I liked. Has anyone seen Juice?
Yeah.
You know, and Tupac had that little
Slick hair.
I used to always want that, yo. But I seen a meme one day and said, guys who have that line in the head, that shows where their life is going. Straight to nowhere. So maybe not want that haircut anymore.
That's funny.
And even with my beard, I used to get the R&B chin strap. But the cord in the R&B chin strap after that. I stopped doing that. I thought I didn't grow my beard, man. I didn't want that R&B chin strap.
So whose hair? So what celebrities now then do you think that influences the hair now? Because I know we're talking about things like, so for example, Jay-Z. He's gone back. He's kind of on his natural hair journey.
Yeah.
He's gone back to the.
That's like him.
Lockdown, isn't it?
You blame lockdown.
It's funny you should say that to me. It's funny you should say that though, because on the way here and walking in, Carlos said that he actually likes Drake's Love Heart. And
the old school.
Yeah, he likes the Love Heart. And
Do you know what? Everyone that knows me knows that Jason did it.
You can't swear, bro.
Sorry, edit that. But you know what Jason's like already, guys? I did not.
Carlos got the Love Heart. Carlos goes, you know what? I feel like a lover boy still.
But it is like, even if it's a joke, like the old school kind of hairstyles
I like it, man.
are making more of a prominence, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you look at black culture now, there's such a pride in who we are as an
Yes.
identity.
Yeah.
That we're not like afraid to do different hairstyles. So as you're
Yeah.
saying about Jay-Z, is that he's my hair inspiration for the fact that he's a multi-billionaire who predominantly goes into white spaces.
Yeah.
But he's not afraid.
Natural hair.
of
Yeah,
his
natural hair.
But I feel like for a long time though, we used to tame down our hair because we were trying to fit in. Like
I remember I had K-Mos for how many years? Like 10 years or And then after I finished uni, I thought, I need to cut my hair.
get a
If
job.
I want to get a job in a
facts.
professional workspace, I need to now cut my hair.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do it, but I thought, in order to progress myself,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to cut my hair.
Yeah.
And then what I thought is, even with my hair now, like I'm not really too fussed to embrace my hair now. I love actually having hair. Like, it's one of them, once you get into the workplace and you then grow your hair, they can't then turn around and say,
no, actually,
Yeah,
you
but
know what?
you know what?
used to your hair by then. Do you know
but
what I
then
mean?
other celebrities like Jamelia, she's something as well for
Nice.
me,
Yeah.
where she started embracing it now. For her, it was more about her daughter as well,
Yeah.
because it was for her daughter,
Alicia
so that's why
Keys
she
had
wanted
the
to do
same
it. Yeah,
thing.
Alicia
Yeah.
Keys
Yeah,
had the
that's
same
true.
thing, because she used to always have it just straight, and you think,
Yeah.
looking like that. But still, yeah.
Yeah, that is that.
But a lot of it as well, it's actually if you can get a haircut done, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We were talking like off camera, like how relocating to a new area and like trying to find a barber. It's a mission, do you know what I mean? It's a
Yeah,
journey
It's not something
itself.
like you
Like,
can
yeah.
Google. Google's just
Yeah.
not set up to be like
Yeah.
Afro hair, barber,
Barber,
black,
yeah, yeah.
barber, black. No, it's just we're just not on online like
professional black barber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
To be fair,
Good
how many
trim.
of your barbershops turn up on Google? Just say,
None, because how many advertise on Google? They not
Exactly,
advertise.
that's what I
Yeah,
mean.
they don't know about SEO and all them things there.
But even we were just saying before, even like hair care products, right? So my sister used to use Pink. Do you remember Pink?
Pink.
Back in the day?
Yeah. Soften free as well.
Soften
Yeah,
free.
soften free, bro.
They used to love that, but like a lot of those shops don't exist online. You know what I mean? It was a case of you know where you're going, you know who you're going to, and you go there religiously. So then if you move to a new place like whether it's Sheffield or Hull or Leeds or wherever else it may be, it's literally finding other black people and going, where do you shop?
Yeah.
Because realistically, it's quite difficult to find that online.
I
couldn't
didn't
find
even have that luxury. It was literally just trial and error. Like I had my hair cut 4 different places before I was like, okay, yeah, I found. Now I'm driving 40 minutes to Sheffield to get my hair cut.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
swear
nothing.
down.
See, when I first moved to Hull, I was driving an hour and a half. Yeah, just to go to Manchester to go and get a trim.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's
And then-
loyalty to your barber, though, isn't it?
Nah. That's not what it was. There's loyalty. There's loyalty and then there's
loyalty,
fees
And
in
then there's
it.
an empty, literally
And options.
no petrol.
Yeah, there's no petrol,
So you drove all the way down for him to...
to trim me.
That's a
Just for a trim and trim.
That's right. Nah, you should go spend time. I know what he's getting up. I know what he's getting up. Do you know what I'm saying? The same thing that you should be worried about. You're talking about my receding. That's what it's fine.
I don't think you're receding.
Or whatever. So why you watch it back and you where your eyes are going.
It's not a pattern, is it? It's not a pattern.
I've been worried about that though because recently I was what podcast was I listening to where they were talking about like how to stop you losing your hair and they talked about the caffeine. I don't want to use the caffeine shampoos.
I've heard
I've heard of it. Never used it.
Does it work for black hair though?
Does
Does
it
it
work? I don't know.
And that's
Does
the
it?
question for all of us, mandem. Do you know what texture your hair is?
Yeah, no, I think I'm off.
Afro.
To be fair, I know like a lot of black women, obviously they do know the texture and style of their hair, but as men, I don't think.
Now, what if, do you know the texture of my hair? What?
I would say you're
Do you
like.
need to feel it or something? Or
I don't want to feel it because I ain't asked for permission.
Nah,
And obviously
that
it's a
is-
microaggression if you're.
yeah, don't touch my hair, bro.
But it's one of those. Don't touch it. It's one of those things. It's like you slightly have to get yourself educated. So I think for me, the reason after obviously relaxing my hair and my hair getting damaged from that, I had to find out how do I get my hair back into a sort of normality, but then also, as we said before, head and shoulders, caffeine, whatever, all of this. Just using it because we don't really, as men, we don't really go into that kind of health aspect of our hair.
No.
So I know that I've got 4C hair, which is the coil which makes our hair look like it's not long, but in reality it's very long.
Yeah.
So it sometimes affects how you look at yourself because if you know that your hair is long, if it can look a particular way, you feel comfortable about yourself. But if you're in a workplace and you walk into there but you don't feel confident and people are like, oh, look at your hair. You want to rather cover it up because that's the way you'll feel comfortable in that space to actually maneuver around it. So when we go to barbershops, they're not just only our place to get our hair cut, but they really are a safe haven where we can actually talk about our issues. So
unless they've got no experience.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know when he's trying to push the, he's like struggling with it. So you got to put a bit of force in it to get. You know
I don't know what barbershop you've been going to where my man knows how to do
That's why she went to four.
sheep.
What's that one to four, mate?
Sound like you went to a farm. I don't know what they're doing there.
It was literally like he's trying to push the chain.
It's like barbers that you know, like sometimes you have to cut the hair backwards rather than forwards.
There's directions in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
100%.
I guess that's why we go to specific barbers rather than like, there's no one size fits all. It's not like they can cut Caucasian hair, Turkish hair, Indian hair, and then black hair, and it's all just the same thing. It isn't at all. It's a completely different skill. Like I remember when I've moved into a new place as well, and I've just gone, look, I just want anyone to cut my hair, and it was absolutely a disaster. They're like cutting me and everything. It was.
You was brave though, still.
But you just needed a trip. At that point, I was like, I just need a haircut. And I was like, hair is hair, isn't it? I came out like, oh my god, like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards. And I was like, I can never do that again.
why do you think that black barbershops are so important though?
I think, well, it's changed a bit now, innit, since lockdown.
Yeah.
And now everyone's getting appointments. But before, like, for me, obviously before I moved to back in the day, you just go there and you could spend all Saturday morning or all day in a barbershop just chatting. Yeah, it's a community centre. The conversation that you're having as well, you'll just catch joke, whether it's about football, about life, about growing up. Do you know what I'm saying?
I used to use it for new music as well, you know. Like,
Yeah. Do you know
what I mean? You're like, oh,
What, your barber selling you the music? Everything happens in there.
Yo, can you imagine
Anything
can you imagine that, yeah? Yo, mid-trim, yeah? I'm gonna play his mixtape. Yo, trap force, fire, fire.
No, but you know what I mean? You're like, I never heard this tune before. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah.
What you're saying is now, you're in a barbershop with like Shazam out, just there, just listening, just...
Who's next? Oh, it's supposed to be him. No,
yeah. I'm here for you playlist, bro.
I just need that playlist, man.
It's important, man, because I think as well, like, as black men, I think there's a level of like, we don't really talk that often to a lot of other black men quite like as intimately as you do in a barbershop. Yeah. And you will get roasted in there no matter who you are, no matter where you're from.
It's tough head boy.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where
no one's safe in it.
No one's safe.
Bro. But then this is the thing, like, well, from the haircuts I've had in past, the microaggressions that you then see, right? So here's a good story for you. I say a good story. So a perfect example is when I was in school, I went to a school called, actually I might leave that one out.
I was about to say that. I was like,
Same.
I was
very nervous.
Reveal it.
No. So it was in the northeast, and so we're predominantly a white area, right? So you could probably count the amount of black families on one hand, and we were one of them, and everybody knew us because of that situation.
You're black, yeah.
So then I went into school, and my mum cut my hair at the time. So I was like, what, secondary school? You're like 11, 12, whatever it may be. And so then my mum was like, look, I cut your hair every 2 weeks, but now I've got loads of night shifts coming up, so I ain't got time to be doing every 2 weeks. So I'm going to cut it really short, and that way it'll last longer, no problem. Probably end up 4 weeks. I was like, calm, no problem. Went into school, teachers started looking at me, and they went, oh, okay, can we call you out, please? Called me out, put me into a separate room, and then said, we're just going to call your mum. And I said, why are you going to call my mum in? That is telling a black boy you're going to call your mum in. I'm thinking, what have I done?
I'm going to get beat when I get home. I don't know what I've done yet.
Oh, I said, call the police, it's better.
Sometimes it was.
Yeah, but then they call my mum in, and then I just heard her kind of like shouting, being really angry. She comes in and they explained to me that they were going to put me they were going to suspend me, but my mum argued them down to a 3-week isolation because my hair was too short because they were afraid that it's part of gang culture.
But what gang is this?
Skinheads, innit? Skinheads, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's not what sort of gang you joined
The gang we did was like playing Kirby. Like,
That's a sick gang still, Kirby gang.
Imagine they were so afraid of like that my hair was political.
But that black hair is political though, isn't it? Like, that's how they deem it. It's crazy.
It's sad in that fact though, because even from like a sense of like getting your hair touched, we were talking about it earlier as well, being like such little microaggressions of like people touching your hair, and we were saying, has anyone ever touched a white person's hair?
Nope.
No.
I've never.
But then my little girl, people come up to her, like even from when she was a baby, and you're pushing in the pram, and then people try and reach in, and I've got about times I have to block and go, whoa. What you doing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They go to touch her hair.
No, don't do that.
The
Don't
hair
do
looks no.
Don't do
Like,
that.
why are you touching her?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this was before any pandemic.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you don't need to touch her hair.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, yo, when I used to have the massive afro and the cane rolls and all that, yo, I used to get a lot of attention, and I can't lie, caught up on it.
You loved it.
If it was a girl touching
Yeah.
my hair, you get me, yeah?
It depends on the caliber of the girl, though, innit?
Nah, any girl, bro. Yeah? But then if it was a man, you touch my hair, bro. You get me? But a girl, oh my, when you answer it, it's right.
Yeah,
It's long, innit?
this brother didn't have no standards. Didn't let anyone touch his hair.
But it does make sense. Like, it gives you a bit of confidence in the way, like,
Yeah,
you know, when
man. It made me feel
like-
good, bro.
one thing which I didn't
Sounds
realize
like
about my country, my country used to. I think I've talked about it on previous episodes where I'm like, oh yeah, I love my country, and I just love that we're peaceful. And recently, I found out that we were under a dictatorship, and one of the caveats of the dictatorship is that you actually couldn't have long hair as a man. You couldn't have locks. You couldn't have nothing.
Wow.
It was just straight, short, back and sides. For every man.
That's exactly how it can be political.
Every man in the country. So now that I'm older and I'm allowed to express myself, I've talked to my parents. I've been like, yo, how would have I been perceived in the country if I had like hair like this and just the way I look? And they're just like,
A freak.
That was too sick.
so it's like hair is political even when you're in a black country, even when you
absolutely.
when you hold yourself, you know, thinking that you're amongst your people. There's still like a parameter of how you're allowed to express yourself, and that's sad.
It's a personality trait, though. When you think about it, like as soon as I see your hair, I kind of can understand. Like I can be like, oh, I understand what kind of person that individual is. If you get what I mean. So whether it's a high top or whether it's just a fade or you just got your short like a shape up or you've got it naturally free, dreadlocks, cane rolls, whatever that may be, it says something about you immediately.
Yeah.
Like it's as having, you know, a certain pair of trainers or the way you dress is completely a way of expressing yourself.
But also confidence, man. You know that time when you get a new trim.
Oh,
my
gosh, bro.
Anyone,
You
listen,
feel like it.
Bro.
Beyonce,
Yeah.
she catch me on the right day with a good haircut.
She might get in it.
Do you know what? I'm
She might get it. She might get it.
What
Nah,
I'm
listen,
saying is
yeah.
Jay-Z,
Yo,
just
listen.
watch out.
That moment, though, you're right, bro. That moment when the barber takes off the
Yeah.
off the apron, bro, and you catch it.
Especially after they finish with the oil. Oh,
You know when you're driving,
Yo,
and
bro,
you got
listen.
it down, and you got the mirror flick.
Yeah,
and you keep on
oh,
catching
bro.
like, who's that?
Yo,
And
listen.
then for the next
you
3
walk up.
days, it like
Yeah.
marinades in.
Trust me, yo, listen.
Pass
My wife can't talk to me on them days.
to my manager.
Yo, you know, actually, yo, on them 3 days. On them 3 days. Trust me, bro. Only joking, only joking.
So, what really annoys me actually in terms of like the bit we touched on about politics and how black hair can be political, is how for me it's monetized by other cultures, right? So hear me out. So there was a bit, was it Justin Bieber or Kim Kardashian who came with the box braids?
both of them had it.
And then the Daily Mail and everyone was like, oh, look at this new trendy hairstyle that's just come in by Kim Kardashian and da-da-da-da. So I'm thinking, are you having a laugh? I'd lose my job in most places if I come in with that hair. But it's never brought back to the people and, you know, where did that hairstyle actually come from? Especially for us, like, it's a lot, man. Like, black hair is, I was going to say, it's a personality trait. It's part of who we are and everything. And I feel like cultural appropriation is quite a big thing, but I don't know if anyone else.
Where does culture appropriation start and appreciation? Because for someone like, I don't know, for me personally, it depends who it is. Like, for example, when we had Adele, who had the Bantu knots and the Jamaica.
I read that.
Is that a problem? Because isn't she showing appreciation rather than? So I want to think. I'm saying that I struggle to see where it is.
There's flip sides of it because obviously women of our culture also do the same thing in terms of like straightened hair and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like wigs and like whatnot. Like to me, it's like as long as you embrace in terms of how you feel and like whatever hairstyle you have, then I'm not too fussed. But if you then start to disrespect your natural hair and say you'll never wear your hair naturally, that's when it's a problem.
Yeah.
For me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do get what... Yeah, that is a really good question, because I think the difference between Kim Kardashian then and Adele is context in terms of Adele was like, it was for carnival, right? So she's going to appreciate a certain culture, and she was like, I'm wearing this purposefully because I know it is associated and appreciated with this specific culture.
And plus because of her man as well.
Yeah.
And where she's from as well.
Allegedly, man. Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to speak for no man.
Just getting about that's all I'm saying.
But that's exactly it. Whereas on the flip side, like Kim Kardashian, I feel like there was no, this is where I've got it from, or I'm wearing this because I've seen these styles, I'm inspired by these individuals.
Or Kanye said.
Or Kanye did it. Like, there was nothing tying back to where it was coming from, because I think that's appreciation and appropriation. That's always it. It's do you give reference to where it's coming from? Simply.
And I think when you talk about hair like that, is that there's with American culture, everything is kind of consumed and everything is kind of regurgitated back to the public as something to buy, where everything to do about our culture in terms of our hair, about our dress, it is very our aesthetic, which is linked to our DNA. So when you go into a space with an Afro, you're not seeing it as political, you're just seeing it as a way of expressing yourself. So when you see another person who is not of your race, who is not actually acknowledging the history of it and the politicization of it, Black people have never politicized their hair. Black people have always just had their hair. It's until another kind of community have looked at us and said, actually, no, that's not correct. We're going to monetize this. You're not allowed to wear this because it doesn't look professional. But in the essence of it, it's just us being ourselves. So when we walk into spaces, we are now dampening our identity because our kind of thinking is that we need to assimilate, we need to fit in rather than this is who I am, this is how my hair looks. This is why I love Jay-Z now so much, because of his hair. Because he walks into those places, you can see him talking to Prince Harry and Meghan, and just locks just flying. No direction, just flying.
His locks are real locks. He even trying to tame that.
Yeah.
It's my
Felix always has a church vibe, innit? I feel like I'm in a sermon right now.
I'm myself because you know what it is? Because he's soft spoken, but he's talking with such like conviction.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Yeah,
you're right, innit?
I'm grown up.
I was like, you never get man's respect.
But here's the question though, like, how do you mind feel about like receding and losing your hair and stuff? Because like in my generation, my granddad, my dad, they're all bald, and I can see that I'm already starting to lose hair in it. What's your thoughts about that?
Your hair's all right.
Do you know what? A hairline is
Right,
actually political. Now that I think about it, it's a big thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like a shape up. The most important part of any haircut
shape
actually
up.
is there.
Yeah.
You can burn the rest of your head, but if this is not on point, finished. It's finished. But like receding hairline, listen, I think it's gonna get to a point, where I'm just shave it all off. I feel like another side of like Afro hair and hair care and things like that is bald Black men. Like it's just a thing. That's also a hairstyle.
You
see, no, because I'm receding, but then I got a fully shaved head. Oh. Okay. I know too. I look in the mirror. But for me, I can still catch it like it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And then what's come out now? Would any of you man like consider hair implants? Obviously, there's
that's a good question.
That's the next thing really what's coming up where it's like for me.
Depends how much it costs, innit?
That's what I'm saying. So it depends how much it costs.
Yeah.
And if I had a dough, then I'm in that situation where it'll just be a little so I could.
That Wayne Rooney.
The
That
Wayne Rooney is the box at the front. Like, look at me, I've not got a crown. Like, I'm all right at the top.
Yeah.
So it's just my front. So.
No, man, I think
So
that's
my dad's like in the middle, and like I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen to me, man. Trust me.
Now my dad's in the middle there.
It's in the middle as well, so I'm like,
Now just take it all off in there. As long as you can grow a beard, it can
Yeah.
style out. At least you can grow
What
hair
if you
somewhere, innit?
can't grow a beard?
Wow.
Nah, you're as money, you're them two man ain't got no beard.
I can grow a beard. Yeah, but my hair on the top of my head is what's good. So
Connecting, I can't tell you how long I used to. Do you know when you like shave it, wait for it to grow?
Yeah, and it's still
Like,
coming downwards.
Yeah. The day disconnected, I said no one talked to me.
yeah, mine would connect those. I just shaved mine.
I was shaving from when I was like, what, 14 or something, so I've always had a
That's
beard.
mad though, because he's older, isn't
Nah,
he?
but
So
listen, I didn't even have a beard. I don't even know what I was shaving.
Yeah, you shaving your skin. That's why it came
I
on.
just
though.
wanted a beard.
Yeah, but that's why it came on. though, when just, yeah, you just
Yeah,
willed on.
yeah.
You willed the beard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nah, because the more you shave,
Manifested
the
it.
thicker it goes back in it.
But I think money no object, you know. I'd get a hair transplant. Like it depends because I think there comes a time where like, do you know where the middle bit there? It's got a circle there.
Yeah.
I'll put it up on there. Absolutely.
Well,
It's
two
just-
things.
You're still wearing a flat cap.
You know, like the purple one. You see
when it's
what
glue
line
them
where it's
things
like-
on, yeah.
Yeah. See, it looks painful. That's the only thing for me, but still,
No pain, no
no
gain.
pain, no
man.
gain. Exactly, no pain,
You know
no
what I'm
gain.
saying?
So yeah, but
But would you
I'll
dread it
probably-
up like Coolio?
Nah, because see, I'm not. I don't want it that long. Like for me, I'm just happy with the low fade now. In my time of life.
The no fade.
Yeah, I like that. The what?
The North Face.
I don't get what you're saying there. I'm ignoring that reference. You get me? Because I got a bit of hair on top still. You get me? So I don't know what you're trying to get at, but yeah. So I'm happy.
No, one of the things which I love about black hair is that just the experiences that you can have about it. The way we've talked about, like, obviously barbershops. Last year, and I think in a previous podcast, people must have seen that I had faux locks. So
What you got before that?
I had faux locks,
Okay.
and I went to a hairdresser. So obviously, that's a whole contrasting experience going to a black barbershop. So going to the barbershop, it's banter, it's male energy, it's just testosterone, and it's good for a young black man to get filled with actual black joy, which is intergenerational. But then when I went to hairdressers, I can't lie, as a young black man, that opened my eyes to a whole different world and understanding. So in the essence, when I was getting my hair done, it hurts. It hurts so much. I know, so man who've had cane rows before, it takes time.
That head day, it's right there.
It's painful.
Especially when it's tight.
Yeah.
But one thing which I really did learn being in that experience was the openness of women to just express themselves and to have such a safe haven. And for a man to be in there as a young black man and to have the privilege and to hear those conversations, I was like, yo, I've never heard this before. Like, there's actual context. When we're in the barbershop, it's all banter.
Yeah.
But there, it's real life. It's about pregnancy stories. It's about how they love. And like, I'm like, wow, I've never heard
We
this
need more of that,
conversation.
don't we?
We need more of that. But then this is like, the reason why we've done this podcast today is because you lot are, 5 to 10 years ahead of us in terms of being fathers.
Alright,
being
chill out.
You're sending my man.
No, 10 years.
Maybe 5 out of
Wasn't that 10, right?
5 out of 4.
But the main point is like you guys have kids and you're ingraining them in our culture, but then also forming their identity. So what do you tell them in terms of their black hair as one, if you've got sons and if you've got daughters? What do you tell them?
Well, I think it's different for me because mine are the eldest out of all of us. And with my son, if I'm honest, because he's got his hair now, he's got the top, he's got him in plaits and he's got him in a little ponytail which goes to the back. And he's just slick and he's got it shaved around the side. Like he just loves his hair. You get me? He just embraces it when it's long. Whereas with my little girl, she's got this thing where she grew up looking at watching Disney princesses and not really being able to relate to them. Like I remember her trying to get her Elsa wig out of me, which I did get her. And then she was flicking her hair around. I love this, Daddy. Look at my hair. Look at my hair. And it's like a bright blonde wig, and I'm like, oh yeah, you look great. So then what I had to do was embrace her actual natural hair and say to her, actually, you're beautiful. Like, obviously, she's my little princess anyway. So I just compliment her non-stop. Do you know what I mean? But for me, it's encouraging that and showing her that, well, no, natural hair is beautiful. And then learning from like my parents or from her mum and from other people, around us that wear their hair naturally and saying, well, actually, look, you need to embrace your hair is beautiful. And now, with hers, like we straightened it before, just with straighteners, by the way, not like putting any chemicals in it. But like with her, you'll show her, like, you pull her hair down and it goes all the way down her back. And she's like, look how long my hair is. Like, she loves washing her hair. Because when she gets her hair washed, and it goes longer. Do you know what I mean? She loves it, but then as soon as she dries it, straight back up again. You know what I mean?
Shrinkage is
Yeah,
real.
the shrinkage is real, and she don't. That's the bit that she doesn't like, but over time she started to embrace it. Do you know what I mean? And like I think I touched on a bit earlier. It's women like Jamelia who are wearing their hair naturally now, and it's more. That's what I want more celebrities, especially black celebrities, just to be more natural and just show your hair and just be like, well, actually, this is me and I love it.
That girl from Queen and Slim, isn't it? She had like just normal, like just
normal short hair.
Yeah, short hair.
But then again, it's like you have to kind of like not overdo it, but when she does have her hair naturally, like you said, you have to like oh wow, because obviously when my son he has chemos, he's only 2, but as soon as his hair is done, like I just gas him up like, oh, are you a handsome chap? He's like, yeah, I'm handsome. Do you know what I mean? So you have to do those things just to help them embrace it and make sure that they are happy with how they feel. Do you know what I mean? And that's just something where even if I do have a daughter, I'll be doing exactly the same thing. Because I think our hair is like precious. And we need to like, just appreciate it a bit more.
I think that, especially on that, because when I was younger as well, I remember my parents gassing me up like that, because I used to go to school and I was obviously brought up in predominantly white areas. So then I'd come home and be like, oh, why is my hair not like that? My hair. And my dad would take me, like my mum would get my hair cut, and then they'd all gas me up, oh yeah, you look good, you got your hair cut, yeah. And it's reaffirming that, because whether it's, the colour of their skin, they're not feeling comfortable, or their hair, or even, the fact that, oh, why does grandma not speak English or whatever else, all of that is part of their identity. I think that the moment that we don't show even greater appreciation for it, I think that we start to lose it, and they start to kind of question themselves. Because inevitably as well, like with my partner, I'm going to have mixed race children. So that's a whole different kettle of fish for hair. Like I've never actually experienced.
You'll be learning again, won't you?
Like, because my missus, she's mixed race. So my kid's hair is sort of, like Tyler's is probably more mixed than what Layla's more Afro-y. And then that's the difference between them two. So even Tyler, he's had his hair cut off, had short hair fade, and then now he's grown his out, and his is long, and then when you take it out, it flops down. Do you know what I mean? And Layla looks at his hair like, mine's not like that. And then it's like trying to explain to him, it's like, I know yours isn't like that, but you've got different types of hair. And then still, we gas them both up just the same. It's like Tyler, I tell him, because he get his little girlfriends like doing primary school, because he's 10 now. And I say to him, son, as long as you know that obviously you're a 10, innit? So just know that you're a 10, and there ain't nobody else, especially in your school, that's on par with you. That's a 10.
Yeah, but the thing
So
is, I'm a 10, Anton.
Huh?
I'm a 10. Yeah.
Out of...
I'm a 10 out of 10. I'm a firm 10. But that don't mean that 2s and 3s.
You can tell from his comment before. But
anyone
can touch
his hair. See, now Tyler's not even like that. He's funny because nobody can touch his hair. But he's been obsessed, like OCD wise anyway, I'd say. Not obviously saying he's got OCD, but from being young. Like, you'll get them kids that would want to pick up mud and do all them sort of things there and have it all in the hands, whereas Tyler, even as a baby, he'll get something like, he'll be eating some chocolate, and after he's finished enjoying what he's eating, he'll look at his hands and be like, and he'll freak out, do you know what I mean? So you'd have to just clean him up and like, right, come on then, do you know what I mean? And he's sort of similar to that now, whereas you don't want anyone else touching him because this is his space, and that's what I've sort of taught him. So I've taught him like just to embrace their colours, just how they are anyway, the colour of the skin.
And rightly so, no one should be invading his space, you know what I mean? Like,
Have you guys had any issues with like schools and stuff like that, even whether it's black hair and stuff? Because there was a story in the news recently, I think there's a school, was it Pimlico?
Yeah, in London.
Yeah, the one where they brought in rules that were basically very anti Afro and natural.
Yeah. And the students went on strike.
in Pimlico,
Yeah.
That's
They went fully on strike, like students,
Even teachers were out with them. Yeah. Teachers were with them.
But they brought in rules to be like, oh, you can't have hair that like blocks people's views, or like hair that's like untamed or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's basically a list of rules that was saying you can't have your hair black in
basically.
school.
That's mad.
To be fair, when I was looking for schools for my son, obviously it was important to like actually go to the schools. And obviously when I went at the schools, I'm counting like, oh, how many black people? And each year that we went up, I went like, how many black people? And the good thing about the school was, towards the upper ends, like year 6, etc., there were probably a couple, but as the years went lower, there were more black people. And there was a black kid who was seen in there, and he had his hair cane rolled as well. I thought, okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
Because at least someone in the school already
Yeah.
has their
That's
hair
the-
like
yeah.
that. So it's not like I'm bringing my son into the school
He's the first.
and he's the
one,
first
You
one.
might get
And then
bullied.
I'm getting questioned
Yeah.
about it, or even them saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
he's not allowed this
Yeah,
hair like that."
these lines
You
in his
know?
head.
Yeah,
What are they?
But in the same breath, that's Tyler. Because obviously we're in Hull. So
Yeah.
there ain't any older kids that are mixed race
Yeah.
in Tyler's class or in Tyler's school, to be honest, and it's a small school. But the thing that I've noticed with Tyler's hair, because he's just such a nice boy, as he is anyway, all the kids love him in his school, so do the teachers, because of his demeanour and just how he is.
Yeah.
So when he comes in with a new haircut or his plaits or whatever, everyone embraces it.
Yeah,
and that's a good thing, to be fair, about the school. They'll all go, Tyler, we love your hair. And he's just like, yeah. Thinking
I'll
about
tell you what's funny, yeah. I picked him up from school one day, and the teacher's like, "Oh, well done." I was like, "Oh, thanks." Like, I was like, "Why? What's happened?" He said, "Oh, he said you did his hair." He's like, "Did you do his hair?" I was like, "Me?" I was like, "Nah, I didn't do it." I couldn't even lie. I was gonna lie, but he'd come round and say, "Oh, Daddy did my hair." I was like, "All right, then, cool. That's all right with me."
You know what the thing is though, on the flip side of that though, like for example, for me growing up and going through school, like I don't know what I was allowed because my parents were always worried about me not fitting in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So my parents were always a driving force behind, yo, keep your hair low,
Yeah.
keep it neat, because they were worried about me not fitting in. It wasn't until I went to secondary school and I was like to my dad, look, yo, have you seen this guy called, well, at the
George.
time, it was... I about the same time. At the time, it probably would have been, I probably wouldn't even say his name, it would have been R. Kelly. I was like, yo, you seen...
Back in the day,
When you had the braids, I was like, yo, listen, I like the way it looks. I want my hair like this. And my dad went through the whole thing of, yo, man shouldn't have long hair.
Yes, that's true.
Well, fair enough, fair point, Dad. But look, listen, I want my hair like this. And it took me a lot of negotiation to get my hair to allow it to grow and to wear it to school. And, it was okay in school, to be fair. But, yeah, I can see...
I think it's because... I think that point then will be, for a lot of us, would have been first generation immigrants, right?
Yeah.
So we would have been the first iteration at some point of like what is okay and how to live and sustain and to be successful here.
Yeah.
And so then at the time, like especially if whether you're firstborn or secondborn at that point, you are the guinea pig. You're going out into the world. And then if you're in trouble, we'll come back and we go, right, okay.
We're not doing that.
Take down your hair, we're going to do that.
But you made a good point. You made a good point about trying
to narrow in that one there.
Trying to fit in. Do you know what I mean? You made a good point about trying to fit in. Like my dad was the same. That was just like, you're not having braids. You know what I mean? Because you need to fit in. Like especially because when you've moved from a different country as well, you've got the language barrier and all of that as well. So it's like, nah, you're not doing that. Yeah.
I used to take pictures because I'm like, I don't understand how to explain this because my mum did it. So I'm like, I want take a picture and they'd be like, do this, and it's like, do you want a 1, a 2, a 2.5? And I'm like, what is that? What? No one ever teaches you that. When you actually think about it,
that's true. You don't know what that is, isn't
it? 1, 2.5, 2.5 on the side. I'm like, I don't understand.
It's like having gone to a new barber shop recently now, and he's like, oh, what do you want on top of 3 or 2? And I'm like, yeah, skin fade.
You just wing it, innit? It's just like, cool.
So 0.551. I'm like, no.
Give me a skin fade.
Skin fade. You see skin?
Yeah.
Fade.
So I've got a question for Carlos. So me and you are quite similar in the sense that, unlike these men, we're adventurous. So we tried different...
That's what you're calling it.
That's free.
So through your hair journey and now being a parent, what do you think all those experiences have taught you?
That you don't have to be as safe with your hairstyles as what I was when I was small, because I think when we were young in Jordan, we used to get a number 1 all over. Just all over.
The dad trim.
Every week.
The safety trim.
Yeah. All the cousins lined up, same trim for everyone. But now, like, I'm more open to, my child Remy is mixed race. So I'm not 100% sure what to do with his hair because his hair is softer than Tyler's hair. Okay. So we've got it cane rolled the other day for the first time. It looks really good, but didn't last because he's just likes to put his hand in his
thin, basically,
It's fairly thin. So we're basically trialing what we can do with his hair to find out what we like. Probably just going to copy Tyler. I'm not going to lie. Because I like Tyler's hair, so...
I think it's very important what you just pointed out there is like Tyler's a reference.
Yeah.
Where, you know, when we are in these spaces, usually we feel that we're alone in our experience.
Yeah.
So if you can point out to somebody who is close enough to you, and this is what I love about you guys, is that you've actually grown together. Yeah, and these experiences where you're now fathers together is that you can share these antidotes instead of going through this whole experience by yourself where, you know, getting your child's hair cane removed, you're like, do I know if this is right for their texture? But because you have a reference now, you can say, actually, it looks good on them if they feel a type of way about how they feel, instead of me as a parent saying, okay, you know, you're a great child. Kids after a while don't listen, but they listen to their
the peers.
So with Tyler being a reference, what I feel is going to happen is that if your child feels a type of way, Remy, is that you can go to Tyler and say, no, I don't like that.
Look at mine. Go crazy.
And I'm a 10.
But do you know what it is as well? It's also practicing what you preach, innit? Because like for me, I still think I'm gonna be a strict dad. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's still kind of being actually thinking. Like, remember when I did that podcast? Yeah, I said I was gonna give my kid that freedom and do it.
But you know what? Yeah, because I was strict. Because my dad was strict. Yeah, my dad was bad mind actually. Because he gave me a lie one time, which I got in trouble for in school. But that's by the by, right? But I remember one time I was in my bedroom with my sister. I was tied in the bedroom, and you guys know it because I had to come round to your dad's to sort me out. And basically, she found a little bic. Do you like them disposable raisins? Bics. And she's like, And basically, before I was receiving, I used to have a widow's peak that was coming down. Do you get like Count Dracula? I used to come down, and she was looking at it, and she was like, Anton, do you want me to get rid of your peak? So I was like, yeah, go on there. Because she had this razor. So she come, She come and she sort of went in as an angle, and so it had like a bit of a triangle upside down into my hairline. You get me? So obviously I went downstairs and my dad saw it and I was like, Dad, can you fix it? And he just looked at me and said, what happened? So I told him and he said, no. I walked off. Lesson learned. Yeah. Honestly, I had to go to school, the next day, with that, like that. Yeah, and I obviously... I got the back ripped out of me in school. And then actually, because then they lived opposite my school. So on my way home, I went to their house and I was like,
you sort me out.
I fell over.
No, I told him what happened. And I was like, my dad didn't quit and he just went, your dad's bad mind. I sort of fixed up the trim.
But I think that's why we really kind of appreciated your kind of podcast and your narrative, right? So you guys have you create like a little community around yourselves where you support each other, and you know, Tyler's looking at Remy and being like, this is what we need to do. And I think that it's important as well for as black men to create that community around each other and support each other from that sense, being like, I tried to do these box braids. Does that work on mixed race kids? Just a place to ask for these type of things, because even when we were speaking to the guys over at Afrodrops, they're producing some absolutely incredible content in terms of like, what works, what kind of hairstyles, textures, and things like that. But realistically, it didn't exist prior to stuff like this. You know what I mean? It was just test and go. And I think that creating these communities is super important, man. Because at one point, I'm going to message you guys like, listen, I shaved his head.
but you know, like you said, it's like even getting access to the products, man. Sometimes you have to drive around a few stops. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like realistically now, I stopped taking care of my hair with the products that I put in my hair. When I left my mum's house, I don't know where to get it from. I don't know where to get it from. So whenever I go to my mum's or my grandma's, I'm in the bathroom. Trust me, my hair just like, facts, bro. I don't know where to get it from. You get me? I don't know where to go to get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's a perfect note to kind of end it on. But yeah, so this episode specifically has been brought to you guys, sponsored by Afrodrops. Go check them out. So that's afrodrops.com. They do a lot of kind of Afro hair care products, a lot of content on there as to, resources and where to go and read about this type of things, and if you guys need any help or references. But yeah, apart from that, we've been Why Didn't You Tell Me? And this has been Black Dad's Lives. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on, guys.
Vibes.